Hello students, today we are going to learn about the chapter The Last Class by Alphonse Daudet. Let us first of all go through the background of the story. The narrator of the story is a little schoolboy named Franz living in the Alsace-Lorraine region of France during the Franco-Prussian War of 1870. The last lesson begins with Franz, who is the narrator, running late to school. He fears the upcoming grammar lesson on participle, which he knows nothing about. He considers running away to spend the day outdoors, but resists the temptation and hurries to school. On his way to school, Franz passes the town hall, where a crowd gathers in front of the bulletin board. For 2 years, this is where the town has received bad news about the war, and Franz wonders what has happened now. He reaches the school garden out of breath. Through the window he can see his classmates sitting quietly at their desk and his teacher, Monsieur Hamel, walking past with an iron ruler under his arm. Franz has hoped to sneak to his seat unnoticed, but today there isn't the usual clamor of students loudly settling into their desk. Franz blushes in fright as he enters the classroom. He's scared that Hamel will scold him, but Hamel speaks kindly as he asks Franz to take his seat. Once he does, Franz notices Hamel is dressed in his best formal clothes, which are normally reserved for special occasions at school, like inspection days and prize distribution. Franz realizes the entire school seems strange and solemn. The backbenches of the classroom are full of men from the village, and all of them look sad. Hamel announces that this is the last lesson he will teach. An order has come from Berlin that only German will be taught in the schools of Alsace-Lorraine region, and French will no longer be taught. Their new teacher, will come the next day, so Hamel wants them to be attentive to their last French lesson. Franz is shocked by Hamel's words. He now realizes why everyone has gathered at the bulletin outside the town hall. He considers how he hardly knows how to write, and his knowledge of French will stop where it is. He regrets not putting enough effort into learning. Too often he skipped school. His books, once which seemed so heavy, now seems like old friends. He also feels sympathy for Hamel, who has put on his finest clothes in honor of his 40 years of faithful service as a teacher and out of respect for the country that is no longer theirs. Hamel calls on Franz to recite the definition of participle. He wishes he could recite clearly, but he gets mixed up on the first words. His heart beats and he looks down in shame. However, Hamel says he will not scold Franz as he must feel bad enough. Hamel says it isn't his fault. The problem is that everyone in Alsace and Lorraine has the attitude of putting things off until later. But now it is too late. Now the Prussians will mock them for claiming to be Frenchmen while they can't even speak or write their own language. Hamel blames not only Franz but also his parents, who sent him to work in the fields to earn more money, and also himself, who sent Franz and the other students to water his plants during class, and who gave the class a holiday whenever he wanted to go fishing. In the last part of the chapter, we can see that Hamel is consumed with patriotism, as he says that French is the most beautiful language in the world, and they must guard it, because when people are enslaved, if they have their language, they hold the key to their prison. Hamel begins the lesson reading from a grammar book. Franz is amazed at how he clearly understands and takes in everything Hamel says. Hamel has the students copy out Alsace-Lorraine during the lesson in cursive. Franz considers how courageous Hamel is to continue with his lessons even when he knows he is about to lose everything and be forced to leave the country the next day. The church clock strikes 12. The trumpets of Prussian soldiers sound outside the windows. Hamel stands up, looking very pale and very tall. He begins to address the crowd, but gets choked up. He turns to the chalkboard and writes as large as he can, "Viva la France," which means "Long live France." He leans his head against the wall and, without speaking, motions with his finger to the class that they can go away because the class or the lesson is over. So, in conclusion, we can say that Alphonse Daudet, who is the writer of The Last Class, shows the close connection between one's language and identity. France, along with the other present during their last French class, realizes the importance of learning their mother tongue and that they have been defeated by the Germans because of their illiteracy. France feels that it is not possible to take away one's language from a person as it is natural to each being, may it be the coo of the pigeons or French to the Frenchmen.